this because I know y'all, it's Friday and y'all got other things to do today. And I want to be respectful of your time. Okay. So let's get into this. So when it comes to self-sabotage, y'all, and y'all know how we do over here, let me remove myself. I'm going to remove myself 2 times. We're going to take me away from here because it's going to get in the way. There we go. And then we're going to take me away probably all the way down there. Boom. Because I want y'all to get a bigger picture. I want you to be able to see it. Okay. All right. There you guys are. That's big. Y'all can see it. I can see it on my phone. All right. So let's get into this. And when we talk about self-sabotage or any topic over here, we always want to talk about what is it? Okay. First things first is what is it? That is our thing. We always ask the question, what is it? And so self-sabotage, it guarantees you, listen, that you maintain the status quo, whether the status quo is good or bad. And why do they give us this? And it's because I researched this, y'all. We're going to get into it a little bit deeper, but I want to introduce it like this because you're naturally resistant to change. All right. That is, you were born resistant to change. You cry when you're born because you got so used to being inside a womb. Okay. And now you're on the outside. It was a change and you weren't happy about the change. All right. And so many of us still act that way and behave that way when we are taken from one environment and being, I don't like to say forced, but being, kind of push just a little bit, push gracefully, push, caring and lovingly into a new environment that we do not feel as if we can thrive in it. Okay. And so we have this natural resistance to change and we'll cry about it. And we subconsciously do and say things that make success less likely. That's what self-sabotage is. You subconsciously do this, all right? And we say things that make success less likely, all right? So this is where the power of words come into play. Your words are powerful, okay? And your belief is powerful. So if you can believe you can do something and you're constantly telling yourself you can do something, you can. But if you're doing the opposite, then the opposite will be your result. All right. When it comes to self-sabotage, let me get a sip. Woke up this morning with my throat a little scratchy. Don't know what that's all about, but we're good. All right. Next up, let's get into this. Understanding self-sabotage. You just can't, talk about it without trying to get a complete and sort of, a real brief, quick in this particular tutorial, understanding of what self-sabotage is. Now, as I say, it's not intentional sometimes. Sometimes this thing is not intentional. Remember, I said it's a subconscious thing that you do because you honestly believe you cannot win at something. And so you start to act out ways in which to make that self-fulfilling prophecy come true. All right. So let's get some understanding of self-sabotage. It is a form of control. I hope somebody's taking notes. Self-sabotage is a form of control. Okay. And the reason why I say it's a form of control is because you don't want to let go of a certain belief or of a certain feeling, emotion, or whatever when it comes to your success or productivity. You have already told yourself, I cannot do this. And there's nothing you're going to say and nothing you're going to do is going to make me believe otherwise. So you don't want to let go of that belief. And so you will hold on to it. It's about control. You won't release it. Okay. You won't let it go. So it is about control. Hello, Marcella. It is about control. Self-sabotage. This thing will allow you to dictate the outcome, even if the outcome is negative. It will allow you to do that because you have control over yourself. All right. So it will let you do that. And especially when the outcome is uncertain, all right, you can make it certain, all right, either positive or negative. You can do that. Okay. Sometimes people, because of a fear of something, they will sabotage it so that they can fail at it intentionally. Self-sabotage gets real deep. Okay, this is why some people have to go and seek professional help for this, counseling and coaching and consulting and things of that nature. All right, it really is a deep embedded thing inside of your psyche, and so you will create these certain outcomes. If you want your outcome of something to be positive, then you're going to move in a way to make sure that it's positive. If you want that sabotage thing in your mind that says, I cannot do this, then you're going to make sure that it doesn't come to pass. You will do things, all right? You will trip yourself up. For an example, I put on here, if you had a job offer, all right? If you had a job offer and you got so comfortable being where you are and you had this job offer, in order to sabotage it, you will intentionally be late for your interview. You'll find everything that you do and can do to be late. Well, I had to do this, I had to do this, and I had to do this, I had to do this intentionally. Yes, you can. You can sabotage those. Vicky asked, can you self-sabotage your personal choices in life? Yes, you can, because you just said the key word, personal. It's a personal choice, personal and choice. Okay. You just said those two words. It's personal, which is your choice. You can choose some of these things that happen in your life. Now, there are some things that may happen to you, but you are in control of how you respond or react. And sometimes we choose to react rather than respond to certain situations and circumstances. Okay. All right. And it all depends on where you are mentally at the time of something happened. If you're like in a depressive state, when something happens, what's the first thing you say? I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. And you will set up and create scenarios to support that negative outcome. You'll create these negative scenarios. You'll create them to support it. Okay. Again, yes, these are about personal. The actual thought is subconscious. Okay. The actual thought of this is subconscious, but you have a choice and control or whether I'm going to act up on this subconscious thought. Am I going to continue to act upon it, especially when you realize what you're doing, which comes later in here. And so, but it allows you to dictate the outcome, even though the outcome may be negative. Hey, Shavana. Okay. So if you had this nice paying job, okay, and this job is like, oh my gosh, like one of your dream jobs, but you've gotten so used to where you are, you got so comfortable to where you are, and you don't want change, then you're going to do everything in your power to mess it up automatically. You'll find excuses. Well, it's too far on the other side of town, or I don't like the people there. Oh, I went in and it had a bad vibe, and all of this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Just because you don't want to let go of change. And that's what it is. Okay. But the biggest point I want you to take away from this particular one when it comes to control is that it will allow you to dictate the outcome. That is the I don't want to say beauty of it, but that's the fascinating thing, but also tragic thing about self-sabotage. It allows you to, in these instances, it allows you to dictate the outcome yourself. Okay. Next, you can avoid change by sabotaging yourself. Yes, you can. Familiarity is one form of comfort. You want to be around things that are familiar, around people that are familiar. And as soon as you are in a position to where you have to shift from that or transition from that, all of a sudden your mind goes to survival mode. Your mind goes into this fight or flight, and you're always going to fight. You're always going to fight to keep control and stay where you are. You're going to find some reason why you can't go there, why you can't do that. And sabotaging yourself, it keeps you in your comfort zone. Listen, can somebody get this last part? Self-sabotage will keep you in your comfort zone, even if it isn't very comfortable. It's just that you don't want to leave it. Even though this is the other psychological part of this context right here is this is the psychological piece to it. You know it's uncomfortable. You know the situation is not good for you. You know the environment is toxic. But because you are so comfortable there and you have this natural resistance to change, you will stay in an uncomfortable situation, place, or environment. You will stay there. Hey, Adasia, thank you for inviting someone. All right. You will stay there. You will stay in it because you are, again, that natural instinct of I'm not changing. And this is why, yes, and I'm going to bring the spiritual into it because we can. This is why when you pray for someone, this is why sometimes you can get frustrated because if they don't want to change, your prayer is not going to make them change. They have control over whether they want to change. And there's no power, there's no deity in the world. God cannot make someone change. Okay? He cannot. He cannot. He can cause situations, all right, that may cause someone to change or allow a situation, but he can't make anybody change. I don't care how deep your prayer is. It doesn't matter how anointed you are. He cannot make anybody change that doesn't want to because we have this thing called free will. And free will allows you to do what you want to do. All right. It's control. This is where that control comes from. All right. This is why it's such a battle when you're doing that is because they are just resistant to change. We all have a natural resistance to change. And self-sabotage will keep you in an uncomfortable position because you don't want to leave it. You don't want to leave it. Okay. Now there's some situation where people say, well, I can't because I have a lack of this, lack of that. But again, that's also built into your psyche. Okay. There's always a way of escape for every situation. It may not be the route you want to take because again, it's uncomfortable. So self-sabotage, you will self-sabotage it. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next thing. You might feel that here's a lot of people. I know this one. You might feel that you deserve failure. This is where self-sabotage comes in. It will make you feel like you deserve failure. If your self-esteem is low, you might believe that you deserve to fail. You know how you do that? You will say, man, if I didn't study hard enough. I didn't do this good enough. I didn't do that. And I didn't do, or if I would have, or if I could have, and maybe I should have, and all those different things. This one plays right into your what? Self-esteem, esteem of yourself. If you're one of those people and you're constantly putting yourself down and you don't think highly of yourself and you don't encourage yourself and you don't empower yourself and affirm yourself, then when bad things happen, you're automatically going to feel like that's what you deserve. It's common. Self-sabotage is common and comforting in its own way. This is why you feel like, well, yeah, I deserve to be treated this way because. All right. And here's the thing. Self-sabotage is also a hindrance to progress and happiness. After recognizing the times that you've sabotaged yourself, determine, what you should have done. We'll get into that in the next slide, but I want you to start thinking about that. Do you really feel like you deserve to fail? All right. And in repeated failures because of self-sabotage, that just keeps you in this cycle. It keeps you feeling that way, and it'll ruin your attitude about you. It'll ruin your attitude about your situation and seeing the positive side to it. It'll just ruin the entire thing, and it keeps you in this vicious cycle because you don't feel like you deserve better. And so you will sabotage anything, any progress that's going to help you, that's going to make things better. You will sabotage it because you honestly feel that you don't deserve better. And you've beat yourself up, and you've told yourself that for so long that you believe it. And then you start looking at your situation and saying, well, this is why this is the way it is, because okay. And so that self-sabotage keeps you in these defeated types of situations. Okay. This is our halfway point. Anyone have any questions on what we just discussed there when it comes to understanding the self-sabotage phenomenon? I like to call it a phenomenon. I don't like to call it a issue or a problem. I like to call it a phenomenon because it deserves to be researched. Okay. All right. Let's go on. If you have questions later for that part, just put them in the comment section and we will get to it. So let's get on into part 2. And this is what you guys are here for. How to defeat it. How to defeat self-sabotage. And so that you can increase your productivity. So here's the first thing that you got to do. Step 1, take a look at your past failures. Ugh, none of us like to do that, but do this for every failure you've had. Okay. For every failure you've had. If you see signs of self-sabotage, ask yourself this question. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Okay. Why did I do that? Ask yourself, why did I do that? And when you start to ask your questions, why did I do that? And you start to write these things down. If you see a pattern, okay, pay close attention. Pay close attention to the action that was attached, all right, to where the failure, all right? Pay attention to the action. What did you do? Like right before it, what did you do? All right? And then right after it, what did you do? Okay? I want you to see what you did right before it, and then what was your either, and you're going to tell yourself, you're going to write this down. Did I react or did I respond? Because responding means I took a step back, I breathed, I did the whole count to 10 thing, and then I approached the situation with some wisdom and some clarity. Or did I immediately just react? And if I immediately reacted, did that just set off this chain reaction for the next failure? And then for the next failure, and then for the next failure. So now that I can build up this whole entire resume of failure, so I can say, this is why I don't, and this is why I can't, because this happened, this, but you never see yourself in it. And you have to see yourself in these things. Let me see if I don't want to remove myself completely. So hopefully y'all can see that. All right. You never want, and it's just natural. You never want to see yourself inside of self-sabotage or failures and things of that nature. You never want to see yourself in it. And you are. This is a biggie. This is why I put this one. I'm telling you guys, at first I wasn't going to, thank you, Marcella. At first I wasn't going to utilize this content that I have for self-sabotage. I was going to save it to put it inside of a book, but I think it's better here. Okay. I think it's better for people to get it free here. And it'll be, part of my podcast when I do it. In the podcast, it's coming, y'all. So I was on YouTube. All right. Pause. I was on YouTube and they have this little thing on there on YouTube, some coaching moments that you can take your playlist. Like I have all these videos in my business playlist. I can just click that little button and turn them into like a podcast on YouTube. So, hey, we about to have a podcast. All right. It may not be as refined as it should be, but it's podcast. We'll refine it later. All right. But this is step one is so important. So this is why I wanted to put this one first. In my notes, I had it last. But I wanted to put this first because this is where we have to start. All right. This is the root. We have to look at these failures and let me see what I did, not what somebody else did, because sometimes it may not have been your fault, but what did you do right before? Okay. Did you use some wisdom before, or did you just let it happen and then say, oh, I knew this was going to happen. And then when it happened, did you again react or did you respond to it? Okay. I don't want you guys beating yourself up. All right. This is just to collect data, for you to collect your self data so you can find out where am I tripping myself up? Because sometimes these situations, they come around again and again and again. It's like a test you never pass. They come around again and again, and you have to tell yourself, I'm not going to respond this way this time. This is how I responded, or this is how I reacted the last time. This time I need to respond. This time I need to take a step back. I need to breathe. I need to exhale. And then let me take a minute. Let me take a day or two. Let me just get some time before I say or do. That's what this is for. This is not for you to look at your past failures and drink it in and bathe in it and glorify your failure so you can say, see, this is why I am the way I am, and why I can't do is because of all of this. And no, I want you to look at that and use those as stepping stones to your progress. All right. I want you to use them. I want you to get in there so you can see your part. I don't want you looking at the other people or the other person, because that's a distraction. You'll never get out of that vicious cycle if you're looking at everybody else. Even if there was someone who contributed to it, you're not going to look at them and their actions. This is about self. This is about you and your action in the failure. Because you want to better yourself. You want to make sure that you're not reacting the next time this thing comes around. You want to make sure that you are prepared now, that you're armed with some wisdom and some clarity. Okay. This is what this is all about. All right. We want you to be equipped so that you can handle it the next time. Okay. Next. Determine appropriate behavior. This goes back to the response. You have to determine appropriate behavior. Determine what you should have done. All right. Just determine that and just write it down. Say, you know what? When they said this, I should have said that. Don't dwell on it. All right. Just take the time and sit back and say, man, I should have done this. And take this time to figure out what the best course of action would have been. So the next time it comes, you're ready. You have a course of action and you're going to say, you know what? Marcella will do this the next time this happens. You're going to write out your own roadmap here. All right. You're going to be your own compass and help yourself navigate in these situations and circumstances. So really take the time out and figure out what is the best course of action. Now that you know and you are where you are, all right, so that you don't self-sabotage again. Say, man, that was me. I did that and I should have did this. And I'm going to write that down and I'm going to tell that to myself and I'm going to keep that somewhere. So when it happens again, if it happens again, I can go get my journal. It sounds crazy, but this is going to help you. I can go run, get my journal, my notebook, wherever you have this written down and say, okay, And the reason why I'm saying that, because that's going to help you to respond and not react. That's going to give you a moment, that 1 second that you may need to break this self-sabotaging cycle. You can say, oh, let me go get my book and let me go see what I did the last time, because I don't want to do this again. All right, they said this and then I said, and then they did, and then I said, and then I did, and then I did. Okay, that was me. This is me. You want to look at what you did. What did I do? What did I say? What was my reaction? And that, all of that will give you time to respond. That'll give you time to say, I almost did this again. Like, I almost did it, but I had it written down. And that gives you that opportunity to not react. It gives you that space of time to breathe. Okay. Hey, Felicia. Yes. Take that second and to reflect on you. All right. On you. Yes. Log everything down and just say, okay, let me go and get, where did I write this down? All right. All you need is that split second. Okay. That's all you need sometimes, so that you're not continuously the self-sabotaging cycle. Okay. Next. Step 3, think about how much, y'all, here we go. Think about how much self-sabotage has cost you in the past. Self-sabotage is costly. Okay, y'all, it's costly. Think about it. You've missed out on a lot because of self-sabotage. Realize how much you've cost yourself, and changing will be easier. Okay, just realize how much you cost yourself. All right, how much have you cost yourself with your self-sabotaging behavior? Okay, not anything. Now, because you were afraid of change, and you tripped yourself up because you were so fearful of taking another promotion somewhere else that was unfamiliar. You didn't know the people and all that stuff, and you sabotaged it, even though you know it would have been a better job, more pay. But because of this natural inclination to not want to change, this resistance that we have to change, you don't want to do it, and you messed it up purposely because you're afraid to change. Now you're making less money. And now you're in your prayer closet just a little bit longer, saying, God, I need some provision. Even though he was like, I opened this door, but because of that natural resistance to change, and you purposely didn't return the email. Ooh, I forgot to return the email. Knowing, again, these are some of the subconscious things we do. Knowing that the people said, hey, be watching for an email. Oh, man, I forgot to check the email. But you were on email doing everything else. See how you sabotage yourself? And the email was saying you needed to respond by this time, and you didn't. Because already inside of you, you had already put in your mind, man, I don't know them people. That's a new place over there. I don't know how they are. I don't know. That's a long drive. I may have to get up, 20 minutes earlier. All of these things is what contributes to your self-sabotage. And now the job is somebody else's, and you're still in the same place, and you missed out on some extra pay, probably some promotions, and you don't know what else. Okay. And because you already told yourself you didn't deserve better from the get-go. You didn't deserve better. You know, this is where you're supposed to be. And listen, I know, because I've been there. Let me take a sip. And then we bring God into it. We self-sabotage ourselves, and then we make it spiritual. Well, you know what? If God really wanted me to be there, then I would be there. No, he wanted you to be there, but the rest is on you. Okay. He did his job by opening up the door. All right. He did his job by putting the person in your path, whatever the situation. I'm just using the job as an example. He did his part. All right. You didn't do yours because you have this natural resistance, this control, this self-sabotage thing. Felicia says, man, you are all up in my retirement business right now. I'm just trying to help somebody, okay? I'm just thanking you guys for the feedback, because again, I almost did not do this particular one. This was almost going to be in a book, all right? But I changed my mind at the last minute, and so I wanted to give this for free, all right? And so, and this is what we do, and this is what keeps us in these self-sabotaging habits and these self-sabotaging situations and vicious cycles in toxic environments, is because we have mastered self-sabotage and then make it spiritual to make us feel good about, self-sabotage, and say, oh, you know what? The devil is busy. Oh, man, he just tripped me up again. Oh, he just hit me out of left field. And God was like, no, he didn't, because I told you what to do, and you ignored it. Okay. We do that. We really do. We do that. And so this is why this was one of the avenues when I became certified as a master life coach. This is one of the avenues that I had to tap into, because I was a master at it. I'm telling y'all, I was a master at self-sabotage. I have a doctorate in self-sabotage. All right. Because I did it so well. So this is why I can speak on it. And this is how I coach professionals on that, y'all. All right. Again, that's my shameless plug, that if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Hers LLC. All right. And so step number 3 was one of the biggest ones, one of my top 4. So these are my top 4. But number 3 really hit home, because this is where you feel the self-sabotage, not only just physically and not only emotionally, but now you feel it in your pocket, you feel it in your household, and then now it just trickles back down into and lowering your already low self-esteem. For those who do have, battle with low self-esteem, that just keeps it even lower, and it keeps you in that place that says, I don't deserve better, because if I would have deserved, if it was meant for me to have better, I would have gotten that job. I would have been there on time. But you never stop to hear your piece in the sabotage. You never stop to see your piece in it. That's why I want you to write these things down. All right. What you say, Kim? Kim says, I didn't schedule for taking a test and pay the fee. I was afraid of failing the test. Boom. Tell the truth over here today, Kim. Okay. All right. I've done that before. I have literally done that, didn't do what I was supposed to do, and then said, oh, you know what? I can't believe that they ought to be trying to give me a second chance. They ought to be this, that, the other. And of course, my spirit, my higher power, whatever your higher power is, we welcome all of you. I'm a spiritual life coach, but that don't mean you have to be spiritual for me to coach you. But my higher power, which is God, was saying, no, you had your chance. That was all you. That was not them. That was all you. All right. Because guess what comes with self-sabotage, y'all? All right. We won't get into that. That's going to be another topic that I am writing on, but I may sneak it over here. What also contributes to your self-sabotage is procrastination. All right. We won't get on that, but it does. It all comes, it all works together, and not for your good. All right. It does. All of that is tied together. All right. It's all in the same boat. Vicky says, I'm the royal queen in this area. I've never heard about this before, but it is so true. Yes. And a lot of people don't realize that's what it is until after the fact. All right. And then it takes someone, like me, to discuss these topics, because nobody wants to discuss it, because it touches on people's emotions, and it touches on places where people are like, I can't believe you said that, because this is what they said, and you're not paying attention, and they was rude. And I'm always listening, and I'm like, but they told you 3 times. So yeah, I think they probably have a little bit of attitude at the 4th time. Okay. And so this is how and we don't just do it in jobs. I'm just using jobs as an example. We do it in relationships. We do it in relationships. You can say, oh my gosh, I'm in a wonderful relationship. And as soon as you start thinking, all right, subconsciously, as soon as you start thinking how great the relationship is, I wish is Tracy on here, in a relationship, the first thing you start thinking about is how it can go wrong. It's how it can go wrong. Okay. Been there, done it. Like, this is so amazing. I can't be this happy. Something bad is going to happen. And then you start looking for things to go wrong. And then you start positioning yourself for things to go wrong. Well, if this happened, and if they don't want to blah, 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 then this what I'm going. You have played out this entire self-sabotaging scenario in your mind, and now you start to position yourself to act it all out. You start positioning yourself to act it out. Okay. Not saying that, okay, yeah, they dumped you because of all the weird stuff you were doing to sabotage the relationship. Doing weird stuff. You know what I mean? So self-sabotage is sabotaging yourself. Nobody else. Nobody else. This is you self-sabotaging yourself. Okay. And now I can look back on some things and I laugh because I was like, oh my gosh, like, how nuts was I? You know what I mean? You have to take ownership for this because it is self. Nobody else sabotaged that. That was you. That was you. You know what I mean? Talking crazy, doing the crazy stuff. All right. Okay. Next, and my number four. How much has your self-sabotage harmed others? This is the sad part of self-sabotage, because even though you're sabotaging yourself, some of the consequences of you sabotaging yourself trickles down into your relationship, into your friendships, into your environment, makes it toxic. Now everybody is affected. Okay. Living a small life has an impact on everyone around you. Okay. It does. How have your friends, your family, and other loved ones been affected? Just be honest. Sometimes we're like, man, they don't want to help me. Well, they helped you before and you messed it up. So now, they don't want to get burned again. You sabotage that. Okay. Okay. So now you have to give yourself effective reasons. Effective. Somebody put in the comments, effective, which means there has to be a result. Okay. Now you have to give yourself effective reasons to change your behavior. You do. Nobody else can do this. You do. You have to give yourself effective reasons. Effective, which means there's going to be adjustments made. Okay. There's going to be something different. There's going to be some transformation that happens. Effective, something good must result from this change behavior. You have to give yourself these effective reasons to change your behavior. All right. That's how you have to stop giving yourself these dysfunctional reasons to stay where you are, not to change. Okay. You have to stop giving yourself these dysfunctional reasons not to change and give yourself these effective reasons to change your behavior. All right. Effective, which means there's going to be a positive result. You have to give yourself these effective reasons to change. If I change this, then what is the positive result that comes from this? Okay. If I do this positive thing, what is the positive result that's going to come from it? Write those things down so you can see them. Okay. You can do the compare and contrast. Say, you know what? The last time this happened, this is how I reacted. Can't do that. My behavior was appalling. Be honest with yourself. Nobody else is going to see it but you. Be honest with yourself. My behavior was appalling. Yeah, I could have and should have done A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right. So now what I'm going to do, which I always use arrows and things because I like visuals. I use arrows. Now what I'm going to do is, before anything even happens, because there's a behavior, listen, there's a behavior that you see in those past failures, and you're going to see that pattern. There's a behavior. It's your behavior. Even in your response, I'm not talking about anybody else. It's your behavior. You're going to see that behavior, and you're going to start to tackle that behavior. Before anything even happens, you're going to start to tackle that behavior. You're going to start talking to yourself. You're going to start figuring out ways and different coping mechanisms that you have, and different coping skills that you can pick up. But you're going to start to tackle that behavior and say, you know what? Just in general, I'm not going to do this. All right. Can we take, let's say in some of the past failures, you have a potty mouth and you tend to just bleep, bleep, bleep. All right. There's bleeps. Don't wait for another situation and say, okay, when this happened again, I'm not going to start to change behavior now with just not bleeping for any reason. And practice that. I mean, you know, I used to be the cussing queen. All right. So I had to literally say, in just my everyday conversation, it could be nothing happening. I just had a potty mouth. And so in my everyday conversations, I would catch myself and I was like, ugh, okay, no, can't say that. I'm not going to say that. I'll say this instead. And so when other things happen, that wasn't my first go-to. My whole little bucket list of profanity was not my first thing to go to. Now it's like, take a step back, let me think, boom. But if you start to practice these new behaviors, all right, because these are learned. Now you unlearn them and you begin to teach yourself new behaviors. And so when situations and things happen, you're not self-sabotaging anymore, because now the new behavior is just your everyday norm. It's your everyday norm. And when it becomes your everyday norm, I mean, it shocks the socks off people. People who hadn't seen me in like a long time, it shocked them that I was a pastor. Because they remember the cussing queen. And so we would have conversations and they would bleeping and bleeping and bleeping. It didn't bother me one bit. I didn't bleep back. I would just be like, oh, okay, well, that's how you felt. You felt real strong about that. And here's my take on it, yada, yada, yada. And they would look at me like, you talk different. You sound different, because it had become an everyday part of who I am. It became my lifestyle, not to bleep. All right. Every day like that. Okay. So these are some behaviors. Self-sabotage is a behavior. And like we said, it's control. At the root and base of it, it is your control. It's a form of self-control, except for you take it to the max and saying, nope, you can't tell me what to do. And because now you don't want nobody to tell you what to do, you don't want to go over there and work for this person or work for that person, even though it can help your situation. Okay. Hopefully this has been helpful, but here's our summary. Let's sum it up. Self-sabotage is a defense mechanism. Anybody hear me? It's a defense mechanism. And what is it a defense mechanism for? Your natural resistance to change. It's a defense mechanism from your natural resistance to change. All right. So sabotaging yourself keeps you safe and in control at the expense of making any real progress in your life. You got control. That's why you always hear me say, well, go ahead with your bad self. Go on and do you, right? It's not a good thing sometimes. All right. So stopping this pattern of behavior requires reflection, honesty, and courage, because all of these things require you to do some inflection on you. It's all turned around on you. You have to look at you. You got to be honest with you. Okay. All of this stuff. So make the necessary changes to your behavior and enjoy your resulting success, y'all. All right. It is a defense mechanism. Remember, I said that fight or flight, you're going to put up a fight when it comes to change. Okay. Just remember that visual that I put in your head about a baby. Babies come out crying because they're forced into a new environment. Even though the environment is better, because inside the wound starts to deteriorate. So that's why it's like, okay, it's time for you to get out of here. Baby don't want to come out. So they come out screaming and hollering because now they're in this new unfamiliar territory, unfamiliar environment. And they were like, but I liked it better in there. But it wasn't good for you in there. Okay. So that's how we are. That's how we are. Okay. So you really do have to examine your life, you guys, for these different instances of self-sabotage and make the necessary changes to your behavior. You really, really have to. Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback? You can put it in the comment section. I would really, really love some feedback on this. When it comes to the self-sabotage. Thank you, Felicia, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Forward Friday. Let me bring myself back up here so y'all can see my pretty brown browns. There we go. Okay, let me bring myself back up. But this topic is one of the topics that was given to me by one of my viewers, and they wanted me to touch on this in depth because I'm always talking about it, and they know this is my area in coaching. This is one of my biggest areas when I'm coaching others is that change. This is where the tug of war happens. This is where the fight takes place. In my coaching section is these changes. Okay. It is trying to not make people change, but help them and give them reasons to change, effective reasons to change. Okay. And so let's do a recap real fast. Let me move myself. I'm going to do a recap real fast. Let's get in here about what it is. And it guarantees that you maintain the status quo, whether the status quo is good or bad. Okay. It lets you, it really does. It will allow you to, there it is. It will allow you to dictate the outcome, even if the outcome is negative. That's why it's called sabotage. Even if it's negative, it lets you do that. And self-sabotage is a form of control. You need to understand that, that it is a form of control. All right. This is one of the ways you can avoid it. Okay. Familiarity is part of self-sabotage. Being familiar with your comfort zone and not wanting to move out of it. It's comforting. Familiarity is comforting. You want to be with people that you know, places that you know, places that, you know, that you feel like this is where you need to be, even though, again, the environment may be toxic. You don't care because you're used to being in it. That's become your norm. So change, you'll sabotage trying to, leave the place or situation or person. You might feel that you do not deserve to do better, but that you deserve to fail. And that's because self-sabotage plays on your low self-esteem. All right. So this is why you have to make sure you're empowering yourself. Speak positive words to you. Talk positive to you. Right? Our first way to defeat it, look at your past failures. Okay, look at them. Analyze what you did before, what you did after. Did you respond or did you react? Okay. Determine appropriate behavior. Think about how much self-sabotage has cost you in the past. And number 4, how much has self-sabotage harmed others? Okay. I see some feedback in the comment section. Let me get some of those up here. With Kim. Kim said, this was a huge eye-opener for me. I don't like driving by the college because it reminds me or tells me I don't belong. No failures allowed is what I see when I pass or drive by the college. And that's what self-sabotage does. It plays on those, and people don't understand that low self-esteem, again, is you controlling your empowerment. You not allowing yourself to be empowered, not you allowing yourself to experience positive again. Okay. And so that plays into the self-sabotage because again, you are going to act out what you have already planted in your mind. Thank you for that feedback and honesty and transparency, Kim. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, guys. There we go. There I am. Felicia said, this is exactly what I need because I fill up thinking I'm coping, then I blow up, but I'm learning to make changes. Effective changes, no matter how different it may feel. Exactly, y'all. All right. And so hey, Amanda, this is what our Forward Fridays are all about is tackling some of these tough topics that nobody else wants to talk about, but I will because I deal with it in my coaching. And so I've experienced it myself. I've experienced it. I've done it. And so I understand where a lot of you are and where a lot of you are coming from. And that's why I like to give these different coaching tips, tools, and techniques because I want you to be successful. And not only that, I want you to be happy about being successful and productive in your lives. I don't want you to feel like, man, do I really deserve to be successful? Do I really deserve to be this happy? Yes, you've gone through hell to get where you are. So yes, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be successful and to live a productive life. You deserve that. Okay. And so, but you have to start to unlearn some of these self-sabotaging behaviors. And sometimes you may have to get a little bit of help to help you do that. You may have to go lay on the couch. I did. You may have to go lay on the couch and talk it out with someone. You may have to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Mentors, coaches, consultants, psychologists, psychiatrists, because sometimes this stuff can get so deeply embedded that you will not, for no apparent reason, and sometimes you could put self-sabotage can cause you to put yourself in harm's way and stay there because you are so loyal to the thoughts in your head that have been deeply ingrained by years and years of you telling yourself this negative stuff and honestly and truly living it out. And so sometimes you do have to get that professional help to help you move on from that. And work through the process. Okay. It's not a quick fix. All right. I'm just giving you some tips. Like I said, tools, techniques. It's not a quick fix. It requires consistency on your part. You have to be consistent in telling yourself positive things. You got to be consistent in saying, all right, let me write this down. You got to be consistent with this, all right, in order to unlearn self-sabotaging behavior. You have to be consistent. That is one of the biggest things that a lot of my coaching clients found out. It's like, no, this is not a one-time deal that we're doing. We have to be consistent in this. What I'm telling you now, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make this a part of who you are. This is your lifestyle now. Positivity, all right, effective change, all of these things. This is your lifestyle now. This wasn't a one-time, one-hit wonder. No, this is your lifestyle, and it becomes who you are. And so thank you guys again for joining me today on this particular episode. And Let me get rid of this because there we go. Let me remove it. There I am because I keep hitting the wrong button. But thank y'all for joining me. And again, everything is scrolling at the bottom of the screen where you can follow me. You can follow me over at Instagram. I'm at Instagram at hers LLC. Also over on Instagram at Dr. Karen D. Lomax. But for business and branding and things, it's the hers LLC. You can follow me on YouTube at Dr. Karen D. Lomax, Twitter, all over Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. I'm all over the place. Okay. And if you don't have any of those social media outlets, just Google Dr. Karen D. Lomax and it'll tell you how you can link up and hook up with me in other different ways as well. And with that, I thank you guys for rocking with me today and allowing me to be silly as well as being effective in teaching this to you guys. And again, I pray that it helped someone and you took notes. And if not, the replay is available. Thank you wherever you're joining me from on Facebook, whether it's my personal page, the empowerment group, or the business page. And as always, thank you to my Twitter people. Thank you to our sponsors who are always sponsoring this. That was make sure I got my little morning tea. And so we want to say thank you to them. Okay, guys, I will see you guys again, y'all, next week. Same time, same line. All right. Y'all have a blessed rest of your weekend.